So I just had a really, really big epiphany. You see, I have been doing a lot of these weird stuff and food reviews, and I've been getting ready for the NHL season. I'm doing my things for the NFL because the people need that stuff. This is me trying to continue to push forward with content. As I chose this journey a year ago, this is what I wanted to do. But then I realized I haven't done. There's been a video I haven't done in a while, and that is you people in Gen Z, and the Millennials. I haven't forgotten about you. Oh no. No, I have not forgotten about you, because you people obviously are going to run the world. The late Millennials, Gen Z, and even the Gen Alphas are going to run up. They're going to wonder, how in the world did Gen X survive? You can look at all the great things of the Gen X crew, the real Slim Sherry, the dad bod guy, I can't remember his name, and Kelly Mano, and those people. And let me just say this right now, I want in that group. Please let me in that group. I know it's not going to happen, but trust me, these are stories that need to be told. And Gen Z, Millennials, I have done 3, 4, 5, I don't know how many of those videos I have on my channel. Those have not aged and have not changed. And today, right here on this video, this episode right here, there's going to be some things I'm going to show you. I'm going to educate you from a lot of the things that we went through in the 90s. And some of that still goes to the 2000s, the 10s, and today. They're still in existence. But I am going to burn through a lot of what we intook and what we consumed, because whether it was going out, whether it was having a house party, whether it was having just a small get-together, we had to live on something. You want to know what I'm talking about? Oh, you're going to find out. And as always, there's that thing. Hit the subscribe button if you want to know more about these things. Trust me, we are going back. It is Gen X, Gen Z, Millennials. The triple threat match continues. It is time to go to war. Oh, I can't wait. Let's do this. And as always, you decide to join in and hang out with us. We, in this unlovable establishment that we do call Jimmy Jam Sessions, we do appreciate you. Anytime you get a chance, there is that thing called the subscribe button. Definitely hit that if you want to be alerted for anything that's just going on, no matter what we do, whether we do stupid food reviews, the NFL, the hockey talk, the Gen X, Gen Z talk. We do appreciate you, and we have been going on 1 year. Let's keep it going. But this is a very, very important video, to the point where it has been probably about a couple months since I have done videos on the Gen X, Gen Z, Millennial triple threat war that has been going on. So I'm just going to get myself situated, because for many years, we have been pretty much putting ourselves together and forcing ourselves to intake and, in a way of speaking, consume the jet fuel of what the 80s and most generally the 90s, technically my generation, although I was born in 75, the 90s basically pretty much gave us a great run of stuff. And it pretty much is pretty much thrown into a little bit of a conundrum, like all these different things that we were able to take in, and they were considered our basic way of intake, jet fuel, and it doesn't matter if it was regular or it was alcoholic. We took all this stuff in. We had it pretty damn good. Like, what are you guys taking in now? Prime. Big deal. But anyways, it's just as best as I possibly can. This is what we went through in the 90s, late 80s, early 90s, going into the 2000s. And it starts with, any of you guys remember this? Any of you guys remember Josta? Kind of like a coffee soda. That's kind of what I thought. I know a couple people who drank this. I think I had this once, and it was so-so. But this was up there as one of the coolest drinks that was out there. If you didn't have this, you weren't cool. But it had whatever this word is. I mean, whatever that word is, guarana. Apparently, it was a thing for your mind or something. I mean, it was a coffee soda, but it had its thing. I think Coke produced this. I think. Sorry, I have to bring this one up. I have to. It's Crystal Pepsi, and this was without, in my personal opinion, they need to bring this back. I actually enjoyed it. I'm not a soda drinker much anymore, but when Crystal Pepsi came out, it was a big deal. There was something called a Pepsi Twist, I think, and that with a little bit of the lemon zest in it. But the old glass bottles, I mean, the old decor. I mean, this is the Pepsi that I remember, the Crystal Pepsi that I remember. And I think they tried to bring this back like a couple years ago in the summertime, and I don't know if it blew up or not. What the people in the 80s and the 90s, Gen X, early millennials, I'll throw the early millennials in there. They remember Crystal Pepsi without a shadow of a doubt. You guys remember Surge? That's still out there. It's still out there. Surge is like basically pretty much an overpowered Mountain Dew, um, and a mellow yellow, and pretty much, and then you have Surge to basically be the adolescent child out of the lemon lime green zested sodas that came out. But it wasn't bad. Had a few times. It still make them. They still make it to this day. But Surge was a big deal when it came out. But since we're talking about all those big funkadelic things, you can never go wrong with the original like crack of cola drinks, and that's Jolt. Jolt was basically Coke, Pepsi on steroids, and I know there was the old school stuff like the RC cola and the Tab, but they still make Jolt to this day. But if you wanted to get through a day, and Jolt was the way. Jolt was the way to go. They still make it to this day. Now, a lot of people do like Snapple and the new flavors that's come out and the drinks and whatnot. This is the Snapple that I remember. The old glass bottles. I mean, we're talking the old sodas like the peach, the cherry. There was a clear root beer flavor that wasn't bad. A cream soda. That's the Snapple I remember. Made from the best stuff on earth. Enough said. Um, I'm gonna need you guys' feedback. Does anybody remember Orbits? I don't remember having this Drew. I don't remember it much, but apparently these things were edible, and you could just down a bottle like this. I don't know if it was a big deal, but that was definitely a '90s drink. Orbits, the colors and all that's a pretty drink. I mean, if you wanted not necessarily to look cool, girls like that a lot. But Orbits was another one out there. And Fruitopia was also big, very big. I mean, they still make some of that. They also had them in the soda bottles in there. Fruitopia, very, very popular. I can't remember off the top of my head if Coke made this or not. Anybody remember Clearly Canadian? They were out here for a while. I had a couple. I remember a couple of these, and they were pretty popular. Everybody wanted to jump on this, and the multi-flavored ones, grape, and a couple other ones, blueberry or blackberry or whatever it was. This was a popular one. The blue clear bottles and all that, very good actually. Now I bring this one up. You're gonna have to look really close to it because that is Shaquille O'Neal, and that's all sport. That pretty much in general was the one drink that compete with Gatorade and Powerade, and it had a little bit of a tang, a little bit of a fizz to it. But Shaq was in commercials and a couple other ones in the '90s. A couple of leagues tried to get this one in there. They still make it. It's not as big as the Powerade. It's not as big as Body Armor and Prime. Prime. Um, but I do remember Slice. You guys remember Slice? This was up there. This wanted to compete with the 7 Ups and the Sprites and whatever the Sierra Mist. Well, I think they came out later, but there was multiple flavors of Slice on that one. Not too bad. It was just another big thing, jumping into the world of the soda game, but was not bad. It tasted pretty much like Sprite. And then there's the old school Yoo-hoo. Some people like it. Some people, it's chocolate water. That's all it is. I wasn't a fan. I could down it and be like, whatever. It wasn't. I mean, they make different Yoo-Hoo stuffs now, but Yoo-Hoo is old school and it's never going to go away. Now, a lot of that, there's so many. When I did the research, I can't do it in enough time. But when it came to this regular stuff, you went from the regular stuff that we drank, and a lot of people are going to be thrown to memories to go back far wide with the alcohol stuff. I'm not trying to promote any of this stuff, but this is what most people lived on back in the day, your college days. I mean, all these brands, you remember these like in the back of your head. I mean, I technically remember a handful of these names, but you may not even have needed to go to the club, and they were cheap back in the day, and they're still cheap now. Grab one, paper bag, old school. You thought you were ghetto, and you thought you were cool, but it was funny as heck. I'll give that one that much. And it's they still do this. It's easy. One of them will be a very bad decision. And there was a lot of different things that just came out. Red Dog was one of the more popular brands that came out in the '90s, and it was not bad. I mean, I'm not a big beer connoisseur, but the Red Dog was one of the more popular ones. This is basically pretty much a little bit more of a tint in your beer, but the taste was the big factor in it. But Red Dog wasn't the only one. I mean, Red Stripe was up there, and you remember the commercials with the Jamaicans. Can never say no to the Red Dog, which was big, and Red Stripe was right up there as well. Now, I'll ask another one. Does anybody remember Hooch? Does anybody remember these? This is like an alcoholic soda that had a bunch of couple different flavors on that. Never had it. I don't know if it's a big city thing. I don't not throw a comment in. Tell me if you had this before. Apparently, it was a thing. I guess. Sometimes when you're not in the big cities. You're in central Pennsylvania. You don't get a whole heck of a lot of the big stuff. I'm so sorry. This is probably the crown prince of the '90s. I still, um, once in a while, Zima is. If I did a tier, that's an S tier. I don't care what anyone says. It's Zima. It's malt liquor. Drop the Jolly Rancher or whatever you want. And the worst part about this is they only bring this out every other summer. This needs to come back full time. I don't care. Except for Zima Gold. Zima Gold was garbage. Yeah, the ice beers were also very big. '90s was innovation for a lot of different products, and the soda and the liquor time frame, without question. It doesn't matter what it was. Every brand came out with an ice beer, like they literally chilled the thing, and Ice House was huge. I mean, every single godforsaken brand came out with an ice beer, a Molson, an Ice House, a Natty Light, a Natty Ice, or you know what I'm trying to say. I mean, but you can't go wrong with good old Bud Ice and the Penguin. You have to remember the commercial. Doobie doobie doo. Oh, memories. Another one to throw at you. Did Skittles? Did anyone know Skittles made vodka? Write in a comment if you've had any of this. I don't remember any of it, but that's just something you're going to have to message me because apparently it was something. Now I throw this one at you for mostly the ladies because this was a good pregame, this was a good after party, and there's the old Queen Latifah saying, "Skip the Moet, let's chill with some Alizé." It was a big thing in the club, at a club, or you got somebody to get this for you. And apparently, this was a girl thing. And girls either my age or just a little bit younger, they will remember this till you know what. And speaking of Moet, Moet was the originator. The commercials were out there. Moet will never change. And you think you can buy a $500 bottle of Ace to replace this? This can be dirt cheap. And I know they make cheaper, but you remember the commercials, they were all out there. I can't do this video without talking about MD 2020, which is Mad Dog. I remember having this a couple times, but this is an iconic figure in the 90s. I say it a lot, not an argument. This is now more hilarious today, seeing Gen Z people trying this on their TikToks and their Instagrams and making a very bad decision. And us Gen X people, we laugh. And we know the saying, we laugh with you and not at you. But Aftershock was also another big thing. A couple different flavors in this. You can mix this with whatever, and Aftershock was kind of a big thing. Very, very, very sporty. There's just so many. There's so many brands that people will try to impress you with so many different models. Like, oh, look at these, the Wild Irish Rose Part, Night Train, Thunderbird, Cisco. There were so many different things. But this right here, I'm going to show you without a shadow of a doubt, late 80s, early 90s, Gen X will understand. This is probably, if not the undisputed king of the coolers, alcohol coolers, and it's Bartles and James. And kids in the younger generation probably want to know, oh, well, I've never heard of these guys. But we sure did. It was these two guys. If it wasn't for these two guys, we probably would not have made it very far in this world. And these guys always say the phrase, we thank you for your support. Trust me. They're still making to this day, but back in that day, this was our time. And I literally could have just did all my freaking time frame about all the things I was able to look for. And I just tried to do this in not as long as a video. So if you guys remember something that you had back in the day and we could show it off to the world, to Gen Z and the late millennials, throw a comment in, do whatever you can, share a story of what you remember of what we consumed back in the 90s and the old school days. That is something Gen Z and the late millennials, we still can have a nice little chit chat with. Definitely something to think about. Throw a story up if you do have something. You made it to the end of this video. I do appreciate you. Thumbs up. Throw a comment. Hit that like button if you do enjoy the video. I need to get out of here because I would like to technically go to bed. So with that being said, I will see each and every one of you legends in the next one. And yeah, bars closed. I will definitely catch you guys in the next one. But do me a favor, hit that subscribe button so I can definitely see you in the next one.